Hi friends, I'm really excited to go through a demo for you. And this is a black and white demo, taking a travel photo or a street photo or any type of photo, usually with people, and making it into a very interesting black and white. So the first thing that I see when I get the picture up on the screen is that I kind of photographed it a little bit off center. It's not perfectly straight. So even before we get to the black and white, I just like to straighten my images. And I know that it wasn't straight because he's leaning forward, and I always look for vertical signage or anything that's vertical. So for example, the ABC Mart sign at the top actually tells me through using these grids that this is more of a straight picture right here. Okay, so I'm going to accept that crop because I like it. Okay, so the next thing is, even before I do anything to a picture, I like to see what it'll look like in black and white. Now, for me, I'm just going to go to color. I like to go to black and white, and then I like to go to what's called the color channel mixer, and that's the mix here. I'm going to tap on that. Now, if you recall, let me show you the before. To see how the cone or the megaphone that the man's using to drum up customers is red. It's sort of an orange red, but we can call it red. I'm going to go to the red channel. It's already selected. And this is called black and white color channel mixing. So watch what happens when I only adjust the reds in the picture. Isn't that cool? So now you can't even see the megaphone. And now when I bring it up, it's totally white. This is amazing. It's selective color adjustments within your black and white. This is incredibly useful because whenever we're dealing with black and whites, often we're wanting to isolate certain colors. When I say colors, colors in the original shot, and adjust them independently of the rest of the picture. So for example, because the megaphone or the street cone, whatever it's called, is sort of the primary subject, at least it's the most interesting part because it's the dynamic aspect of the picture, we want it to be prominent. So instead of dark, instead of mid-tone, I'm going to go totally high on the luminance scale up to 100. Okay, so that's good. Now the next parameter is, let me just tap to show you what we have here. What about the Kirin beer? Is an important part of this picture. It's debatable. So I'm going to go to the yellow channel and watch what happens. I can either make it super bright, or I can make it sort of drift off into the distance. It's still visible, of course, but it's actually a little bit less, and that's the way I like it. So I'm just going to, maybe I'll keep it down to luminance of -60. Okay, so far so good. Now, the next thing is, I'm going to press done. The question is, do we keep this as a full body shot? I would definitely advise that. So what I do is I go to the top, the up arrow, I go to save to camera roll, and small. Now you may ask, why do you use small, Mark, when you should be using full quality or full resolution? The answer is because I'm only exporting for the sake of social media. That would be IGTV, that would be Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. There's no need for me to go any higher. Okay, so when I go to save the camera roll, I don't need maximum available, I just need small. Now the reason why I exported this the way it is, because I like to export for various things. For example, a vertical is very good for IGTV. However, a horizontal at 16:9 is very good for YouTube. So I'll get into that in a second. Now the next parameter that I want to deal with is, what about making this a cleaner shot with less distraction. So I'm going to go to my crop tool, and I'm just going to see what this may look like as a square. Now the reason I'm going to choose square is because it's true that square works great for Instagram. Everybody knows that. But did you know that if you're posting to Facebook, square is usually has a lot more traffic to it, has a lot more viewership than a horizontal picture. It's true. The stats are out there. Now, let's just take a look at a square shot here. Now, usually what I like to do is ask myself, is there anything that I can do to avoid a distracting element? So the primary subject, of course, is the man speaking into the cone. Or you could even argue that the cone is the primary element. Now, the sneakers in the back are good. I really like them as it could be a secondary element to showcase that this is indeed a market area. And also, what about the Kirin beer in the background? It's debatable. I am probably going to crop them out. Okay, I don't delete anything from my street photography. What you see is what you get. The only thing I do is cropping and also exposure adjustments and contrast adjustments. Okay, so I'm going to move in just so that I don't see the sneakers, because the sneakers, although really cool that they were lit nicely, I just feel that they're going to distract. Now, the only danger with cropping in this far is that street photography traditionally, and I'll also add travel photography, it's usually better to have the people smallish in the frame so you can see the entire area, because essentially what you're trying to show are people within their own environment. And we would call this within their built environment, meaning the cityscape or the city or the streets. However, I'm just going to go with a tighter crop this time for this shot. So I'm going to accept that shot. Sorry, I'm going to accept the crop. Now, you could argue, well, why don't you get rid of that little light under the ABC because it's distracting. I don't really think it is. I think it's perfectly good the way it is. So I'm going to go with this picture. And one of the things I may actually remind people is that the traditional cropping scenario is that you have more space in front of a person than behind. So this crop here would be more of a clean or traditional way to crop. However, I want more space, so I'm just going to crop until we get to the sneakers, okay? So that's good. Now this is a square, so I'm going to go to my up arrow. I'm going to save to camera roll. Again, small is perfectly fine because this is going to Facebook and Instagram, okay? So that's great, all set. So this is a square shot. Now, one thing that I will mention is if you're getting into IGTV, IGTV really loves vertical 16:9 crops, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to I'm going to go to original, and then I'm going to actually go to 9:16. And this 9:16 will allow me to have what's called a cover shot or a thumbnail for my IGTV upload. Now, if you are not doing a corresponding video for your photos, then you don't need to worry about this because IGTV is video based. But because I'm going to be putting this tutorial on IGTV, I definitely want to have a vertical crop like so. Okay, so I'm going to accept that crop. I'm going to go to the up arrow and I'm going to go to save to camera roll small. So at this point, I have my IGTV thumbnail, my Facebook square, my Instagram square, and the only thing that's left is my YouTube. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to custom first, give myself a horizontal, then I'm going to go back here to 16:9, okay? So this will give me what's called the HD or 16:9 ratio, which is really good for any time that you upload to YouTube, okay? So I'm going to check mark that and export it again to my camera roll. So at this point I have all of the thumbnails that I need for my social media uploads. Now you may be saying, I don't really care about social media uploads. This is just for me. Well, then you can skip all those steps. No problem at all. Okay, now finally I'm just going to go back to my standard crop. I'll just go original and accept that. And here is the original crop. And I like to keep, especially within Lightroom, because I can always come back and crop later because these are raw images, non-destructive. I kind of like to just have the full shot and then I can crop down the road. Maybe a year down the road, I may want to crop differently. Okay, so if this demo helped you, I would really appreciate you sharing it with someone. Whether you're on YouTube, on Facebook, or Instagram, please share it. And also feel free to add in the comment section below if you have anything that you want to learn. I'll try my best to make a video just for you. Okay, have an awesome day and enjoy your photography and your editing.